Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are straight up celebrities like actors, musicians, or they're royals. But today I will be reading the chart of a very prominent politician who is in the spotlight at the moment, and that is JD Vance. Now, I did put out a reading for JD Vance on literally, I think, on the day that there was the debate between Kamala and Trump, and the day that was the same day that Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala for president. I put that out, and then someone commented, whoever that was, thank you so much. You commented and you said, check the time or date of his birth because he's actually a Libra moon. I had here that he was a Scorpio moon, and that's because I was dyslexic. And this was the chart that I initially analyzed. So as you can see here in this chart, it's very similar to the amended chart. This is an amendment, but I just wanted to show you what I had before. I had him down as the 4th of August, which would have given him a Scorpio moon. But otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same-ish. But that said, I removed it and wanted to acknowledge my mistake and let you guys know I need to redo the chart. A lot of what I said, I still have the recording. A lot of what I said still holds up because of that 12th house and that, heavy Scorpio at the bottom of his chart. But having a Libra moon does change things up. So I wanted to take that into account and just redo this thing, amend this thing to get it right. Just keep in mind that I don't know much about this guy. Some people in the comments said he was Mormon. Is he Mormon? And yeah, he grew up conservative, and yeah, I don't know much about him. But as I read through this, if whatever I say in this reading aligns with what you know about him, please put it in the comments. And if there is like a contradiction there, you can also put that in the comments, because this is an almost blind reading. So sort of blind reading. Blind-ish. So I hope you enjoy it. Before I dive in, I just want you guys to know that I do offer MP3 readings. They're 15 minutes long for full chart readings, full transit readings. And then I've got 5-minute like mini readings, really focused readings. So if there's a specific issue, like let's just say you know about your chart, like you know what it means, but you have a situation that you would like some enlightenment on, or like some help with using your chart or even a specific transit, that is available to you as well. So everything is linked below. So yeah, MP3 readings, 15 minutes long for big readings, and then 5-minute focused ones. And then also I have members. So if you'd like to financially support me and you'd like to get readings on people that might get me demonetized, like I'm going to do Andrew Tate, Benjamin Netanyahu, just people who are not, just people who are very polarizing, I will do in the members section, because I also just don't want to attract a certain caliber of people who I would like to keep away from me, right? Because those names tend to attract certain types, and I don't want that anywhere near me, but I still want to explore their charts and understand them a bit better. So if that's something you're interested in, you really like to help me and support me and keep me online, because as I said before, I said in the previous reading that I actually took down, I'm so prepared to be a Scorpio rising, and if I have to return to teaching, I have to wipe the whole internet of what I've done. Like, that's just how I operate. And with this Mercury going retrograde for a while in Virgo on my midheaven, I was like, should I be doing this? And a lot of people are saying that I should stay. So if you would like to see me stay, that's the best way to support me and let me know that you would like to keep seeing my content. And I'm also going to do I'm going to do like a series on the North Node and the signs and the houses. That's coming out pretty soon. And of course, I'm going to do case studies on my members. So yeah, just thought I'd let you know that. Thank you so much. Okay, let's just dive in and have a look at JD Vance's chart. So, now, just to reiterate, in this reading, he is a Libra moon, and Libra moon is with Pluto, but he still has a Scorpio IC with Mars, and this time Mars is at 22, which is the kill or be killed thing. kill or be killed thing. Kill or be killed number. It's the kill or be killed degree. Sorry. So how I read a 22 degree, wherever you have 22 degrees, is where people think you are weak, but you're not. People think that you are soft and squishy, and maybe you are, but you're also full of poison. You have spikes. you can be a problem. So he's got that Mars, and remember, Mars is anger, it's sex, it's war, it's passion, they're the masculine desires, right? His Mars is at the 22 degrees. So I think he fights with himself a lot about his desires. One thing for certain is that with a Mars and Scorpio, which is the Taylor Swift Mars as well, they are very motivated by money and power. And it's funny because I've met a few Scorpio Mars people that say, oh, I don't care about money. I'm like, yes, you do. You like material things. You like to have control, right? Control, material possessions. They don't like they then they're afraid to be homeless. They're afraid to lose. They need control. And certainly with Saturn occupying the same sign as Mars, there are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of curveballs like thrown at them. They have to work very, very hard to maintain their abundance, especially with all of this at the bottom of the chart. A lot of this has to do with family because Saturn is a public generational planet. Saturn governs things that are actually out of your control. Saturn governs the things that actually control you, right? Because it's the patriarch, it's the father, it's the governments, it's the rules, it's the regulations. So if you have Saturn at the bottom of your chart in the same sign as your IC or in your fourth house, you're going to have heavy responsibilities and restrictions and difficulties around the family and the home. Having two malefics at the bottom of your chart can indicate it can indicate a lot of things. It could indicate some kind of like abusive situation in the home. It could also indicate poverty, or maybe he didn't come from a poor home, but maybe his parents experienced poverty and those wounds transferred over. I mean, Marilyn Monroe had a Scorpio. She was a Leo rising too. She had a Scorpio IC with Saturn at the bottom of her chart, and she had very severe daddy issues. And I'm wondering with JD, sorry, with JD if he has some daddy issues, because I don't know much about JD, but based on what he has talked about, what I've seen, with him talking about women with cats, he seems to have a bit of a vendetta against women with cats, single women with cats. Why is that? It's a bit insecure. It's an insecure masculinity. A strong man would never say something like that, or at least a man that is you can be a strong person and have insecurities. That's fine. But someone who is very well adjusted, someone who likes women, would never say something like that. So I'm wondering if he resents, if there's a part of him that resents having to be this authoritative figure, because when you are an authoritarian, he is the man of the family, he's the man of the house. I'm wondering if he's incredibly burdened by that. I'm also wondering if his father was present. If his father was present, I'm wondering if his father was very hard on him. I mean, Mars in the fourth house, Mars on the IC is war in the home, war with the mother. Did his parents stay together? I know some of you guys commented in the previous video, but I can't remember. Are his parents still together? If they are, it's strained. And maybe they stay together because there was like a lot of abundance. Even the IC is at 22 degrees. Like, things look actually, with this amended chart, they look more extreme with him. I think with him being a Libra moon, he really wants to have a peaceful life. He wants an equal give and take. He does want that. But there's also like a tyranny here. And, there's squares here with this Leo stellium. And I said this in the previous reading and it still holds up. I still stand by it. He can't be himself. The sun, which is your individualism, right? It's where you shine. It's your ego. It's shining in the darkest house. I mean, I could also argue because he's a Leo rising and and his sun is in Leo, it could play out as a first house sun, which would make him incredibly like self-involved. Like, does it? If you've got a first house sun, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means a lot of it just makes you it does make you super unique. It can make you hella creative, very ambitious, which he clearly is, but he's still a 12th house sun. It's still in the 12th house. It's not like the sun is in a conjunction with the ascendant. There's something that he's hiding. I think he's a very playful party animal. I think there's a part of him that, I mean, would really like to go to the nightclub, and wear fishnets. I think there's a part of him that, wishes that he could do something more creative or artistic. His midheaven is in Taurus. So he's like Trump, actually, because Trump is a Leo rising with a Taurus midheaven as well. When you have a Taurus midheaven, you have to represent these very traditional Taurian, earthy, steady, earthly things, right? Like wealth, yeah. Wealth, real estate. It's literally like Taurus is the sign of the Empress. It's those old structures old structures can give birth to abundance, and he has to represent all of that. He has to be this Taurus midheaven. But the ruler of his midheaven, which is Venus, is right here in the 12th house, and they're not really favorable. It's squared. When the midheaven ruler is squared, when it's fighting with the midheaven, career can be really difficult because you have to hide a part of yourself. You have to kind of hide who you really are. In order to be a Taurus, he has to hide his 12th house Venus, his desires. Kate Middleton has a similar but different situation. Her Venus is squared in Aquarius. It's not easy having a midheaven ruler that is either opposed or squared your midheaven, because you have to put away part of yourself, lock it in a box, put away part of your identity in order to fulfill society's expectation of you. If you have a Leo Venus, you have you really do have this desire to kind of like be in the spotlight, be on stage. I think to a certain extent, being on a stage for JD and, presenting a speech and like that showmanship, that's fun for him, even if he's representing something that he doesn't necessarily believe in. I think he's just doing his duty. If it was truly up to him and he didn't have all this pushback from his family, if he didn't have this Scorpio stellium at the bottom, if he didn't have this potentially a father that was really difficult or like this high pressure situation at home, I think he probably would have been in the creative arts. And I said that in the previous reading. I do think that he has a bit of, like he has the soul of an artist. There's something that is hiding here, and I feel for him. I really, really do. I mean, what he said was pretty prickish, coming after me like that. That was personal. Childless cat women, leave us alone. But, I can look at this and understand why, because he's not free. He's not free. He doesn't have placements that indicate freedom. He has placements that indicate duty, and he has placements that point to him hiding parts of himself. And I have a lot of empathy for that. I really do. So I don't hate him for it. I understand. Now, this Libra, I know the Libra moon and Pluto are not in a conjunction, but they do occupy the same sign. And wherever you have Pluto is where you have transformation. So a death and a rebirth of sorts. So this is in the 3rd house. Is he close to his mum? Because now I do think the mum's in pain, or the mum there's difficulty around the mother, or the mother has a very difficult time. But does anyone know if he was good friends with his mum? Because now that his moon is in the 3rd, very often very often third house moons are very good friends to their mothers. They're less mothers and more friends. It can turn that way, it can become that way as they get older, with this placement. But I still maintain that the mum had a really hard time because Pluto is here. If you have Pluto in the third, you could get bullied at school. Was he bullied at school? Was he tortured at school or something? Third house Pluto. Anyway, it's just something to think about. It's nicely aspected with Jupiter. So he could have suffered social rejection and then through hard work become like a bit of a, like he could have dominated at school, dominated the social scene. But I do see him having trouble with adjusting. You can transform that. Pluto is transformation. You can turn a shit thing good. You can even turn a good thing to shit. So it's like, yeah, it does look difficult. But certainly with a Libra moon, it makes him much more cooperative. I think he really wants people to like him. I'm a Libra moon myself. He seemed a lot more tyrannical. When I read it last time, his Scorpio moon with the Saturn, with the Mars, seemed a lot more tyrannical. He was more likely to pop off. I think he's a little bit more diplomatic in person. Let me see. And his moon now sextiles Venus, much more pleasant. Who is he pretending to be? He doesn't seem like this macho authoritarian, women with cats are stupid and lonely and miserable. Dude, I think you're kind of lonely. Uranus squared Mercury. That's like social rejection. And also Uranus in the 4th house, which does play into the 5th, is like moving around as a young kid. He's in military? Was he military? Did someone say he was military? Was he born into the military, like his family military? He himself is military, because that Uranus in the 4th has him moving around a lot. Yeah. Someone check his search history, because people with 12th house Venuses are prone to secret love affairs. Just falling in love with the enemy. And if he does, because Venus is squared his midheaven, if he's caught in an affair, it will destroy his reputation. It will destroy his career. It could destroy his life. So he needs to keep his side of the street clean, as Taylor Swift would say, as the cat lady would say. Keep your side of the street clean. And what else is here? Saturn square the sun. Yeah, dad doesn't approve of him. He feels he's always seeking approval. He wants to go off and live like a vagabond life, but he can't. A creative vagabond life and move to Paris and draw pictures or some shit. Like, I think he wishes he could have done that, but he can't, because Saturn, those structures, that patriarch, that father, those laws, that religion will not allow him. Saturn square the sun. Your self-expression is rejected by the institution. Saturn square the sun. Who else is here? Do you have Saturn square the sun? Put it in the comments. If you've got Saturn square the sun, shining bright and being who you are is going to be met with rejection. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be laughed at. And you've got to get used to it. Certainly with people with this placement, very often they fall in line because they can't survive it, or they're just literally, it's a matter of life or death. Those of you that can, they very often run away from the structure. But Saturn always calls back. Always, like, you very often come back to it. If you have Saturn square the moon, which he doesn't have, but if you have Saturn square the moon, your mum and your dad don't get along. And your emotional expression and being vulnerable is also met with rejection. You don't get any sympathy. You get no compassion for that. So Saturn squaring off with your personal placements, there's a part that some aspect of you which isn't allowed to shine. Oh. Is this working? Oh, sorry. I think this is, yeah, sorry. My computer just glitched and I'm like, what? What just happened? Low disk space. What do you mean? I just cleared everything out. Anyway, his North Node. So let's talk about that for a moment. So North Node with Chiron at the top of the chart in the 10th playing into the 11th. He would do really well to dedicate his life to some kind of service, helping people, healing people. People with Chiron in the 10th and 11th house very often feel like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? What's my career? What's my job? And again, back to Kate Middleton, she's got hers in Taurus, but similar energy. If she didn't become the princess of the world or whatever, if she didn't become Princess of Wales, I think she would be very, very lost. People with Chiron in the 10th house, 11th house, they really do struggle to find, like, they really do, they struggle with duty and responsibility. Like, who am I meant to be? So for him, he would do really well in humanitarian work. I think he would do really well. I mean, Chiron things. And I feel like with his Chiron in the 10th, 11th, he knows what it is to be socially rejected, like rejected by the public, the network. I see that there. But the way for him to be accepted and to be well liked and to be loved is to reach out a hand, an understanding hand. Oh my God, I've been playing Hanson's Weird. You know that song Weird by Hanson? Such a good song. That song is high art. That's the vibe here. He needs to be a healer. He needs to be a helper. And stop putting on this fake macho, like, I'm a man and traditional marriage and like, ugh, shut up. You don't even believe it. I think he tells himself he does, but yeah, he just really doesn't like cat ladies because he wish he could be one. He really does. He really does. This is not a person that is allowed to be themselves. Certainly not in politics. Like, if he could live a more a more introverted life, and if he could be a bit of a vagabond and paint pictures in Paris, then yeah, he'd be fine, but he's not. If he's being inauthentic, he'll pay for that. If he's having secret love affairs, if he's got a very questionable search history, he can get in trouble because that midheaven ruler squares off. Be careful, JD. Be careful, sir. Be very, very careful. Keep your side of the street clean. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop this. Thank you so much. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I have an injury to my eye. That's why I've been, there we go. I had an injury to my eye. That's why I couldn't make this video earlier, because it was kind of busted. I'm okay. I'm okay though. Lilith was going over my moon. It happened before. Every 8-9 years when Lilith goes through Libra, I have some kind of minor injury. I lost my finger last time this happened, and thank goodness I kept my eyes fine. I had an accident with a bamboo stick, so I was trying to be Britney Spears. Anyway, I was dancing around and I hurt myself because I'm silly. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. Hopefully Lilith doesn't do him a number because he's a Libra moon as well. So all the Libra people out there, especially Libra moons, be careful with your bodies. Thank you so much, guys. This is all I got. Yeah, if you'd like to support me, I've got members. And then I've also got the MP3 readings. All linked below. Thank you so much. Much love. Bye.